So depending on how much coffee you've been drinking, this may or may not be a new presentation for you. But actually, no, it's definitely a new presentation. So last week I told you briefly about these modules we're building, and I'm actually super glad that many of you have come up to me after and said they really like this idea and want to utilize them. And we've discussed ways of taking the things that you guys have built and actually pulling that in so we can have a good consolidated resource for everybody. However, this is not the extent of what we're trying to do with Big Bio. We also have these two other main thrusts that we're working on. One is undergraduate research highlights, and the other is principal investigator profiles. I just want to very quickly tell you about these before cutting into the affinity groups. So the first is this idea that we have all these undergraduates who we come in, they mentor, they do these summers programs, they do a lot of hard work for a quarter, a few weeks, a month or two, and then there's basically like no evidence they ever existed. And they just kind of like slip under the radar. And this is a huge problem. It's a huge problem because it means they're not learning how to record their work very well, and it's a problem because we actually have to fund these people, and that means we don't have evidence of what they did for grant renewals. So one idea that we have is we're going to basically create these like landing pages for individuals, and they can make a little profile about themselves, and it has an abstract about the work that they did, a video presentation, an interview with them where they present their work, and then like how to contact their lab, their CV, stuff like that, so they can be like, hey, look, this is what I did. And they can show that to future employers or labs when they're applying to graduate school and things like that. However, the reason we really want to push this as a community is a lot of programs are getting funding to bring undergraduates in to do research with them. And apparently it's very difficult to get this funding renewed because they're like, oh, what work do you do as undergraduates? Like, we hosted tons of them. And they're like, well, show us. And then you're like, so basically the idea is here is when they make their profiles, we're also going to want to collect like funding numbers so that you can go through and be like, hey, here's the grant we funded. Here's the 10 people we supported, and you can actually watch videos of them and see their posters and see their write-ups so that people who are actually dishing out the money can actually be like, oh, these people actually did take undergraduates in and gave them a fantastic experience that resulted in an actual amount of research that's useful to the community. So that's one thing we want to do. So if you have undergraduates who you're mentoring or run any programs, again, follow us on Twitter. We haven't tweeted yet. But once we get these all fully up and going, we'll have examples and templates and teach you how to do these for your undergraduates. And then the next thing we are doing are these principal investigator profiles. And this is kind of largely more so, well, there's a few points for this. One is kind of broader impacts. A lot of times people don't really know what we do in the field. So this isn't about communicating results, which is what we all know and love to do. But this is more about like how do we communicate science? How do we tell people what we're doing and why they should care and why it makes sense and is important to their lives? It's also kind of a recruiting mechanism. So there's a ton of new PIs who, while there's certain famous PIs, there's some currently less famous PIs, and these less famous PIs might want to get people into their labs, but people don't know who they are, so they're not getting this constant like stream of like, can I do research with you? But if you're on the Big Bio website, then maybe these upcoming undergraduates or graduate students can look and see you and be like, oh, here's a cool professor. They're doing cool research. I didn't know of them before because they're not the talk of the town, but I like what they do, so maybe I should go and follow up on these people. So this kind of really be a recruiting mechanism for PIs. But also on here, as you can see, we have our little modules at the bottom. You'd be like, hey, you want to join our lab? Like, this is what you should know. This is like the skills you should have. You should take programming courses like this. So this is going to be a good landing page so that when people look at you as a lab and say like, hey, maybe I want to go work with this person, they can also be like, oh, and this is what I need to know to work with that person. So there's a little pre-filtering and sorting going on and teaching people what they need to do to really enter the field better. So those are the other two thrusts. Once again, here they are, but lots of people today who've been working on this, and please do follow us and let us know if you have ideas or want to be involved. And with that, I look forward to hearing your stuff.
So for the undergraduate highlights, is that really just about your summer RU program, or are you expecting to highlight undergraduates from across the country, world, whatever?
We want this to be really inter-institutional. So we would love if every undergraduate and every PI from anywhere made a profile, because really what we want Big Bio to be is the like, if you do computational genetics is kind of that like landing page for the field. This is where all the resources for education have kind of been consolidated, all the onboarding. Here are the professors who work in this field. Here's what they do. Here's how to contact them. These are the undergraduates that are working. Because it helps everybody. If undergraduates at your program do some good work, maybe they'll apply to grad school at UCLA, and now we can better evaluate if they're a good fit for our program, and vice versa.
I want to say that the people involved in this program really made it clear to us that they want to be in no way affiliated with UCLA. The only reason UCLA computational medicine is on there is because we provide the food to their meetings. Yeah. So they had to put it there. But yeah.
Yeah, we originally were going to be very UCLA centric, and they're like, no, this prevents us from actually like achieving a lot of what we want to achieve. So, and that's why we're asking all of you, like, if you want to be involved, please be involved. Like, this isn't we don't want this to be a UCLA.
So we really want to use CGSI as a way to get in.
So, and with that, have fun at your affinity groups, and come talk to me later.